For a discussion about it by Vuyokazi Futshane from Studies in Poverty and Inequality Institute. Vuyokazi, good morning and thanks for your time. Are we at all surprised or shocked by these figures?
No, not at all, because over the last couple of decades, poverty and inequality has been on the rise. So to me, it came as no surprise that over 55 million South Africans are living in poverty, because from the research that we're doing and from the reports, they confirm what the research that we've been doing, that poverty is racialized, that poverty is feminized, and that the youth in particular remain vulnerable to poverty because of the inherited nature of poverty. So it keeps getting passed on from the next generation to the next generation, and then that's the perpetual poverty cycle continues.
So to break it down, is who's not doing their job, or who's not doing what they're supposed to be doing to help the situation?
I mean, that's a difficult question to answer, but I think one of the researchers that you had on yesterday, Dennis, and the Statistician General himself, said that one of the measures that were implemented by the new government in order to tackle poverty and inequality were the social grant system. And as progressive as they have been, they still remain, you know, uncomprehensive, because the vast majority of the population is uncovered by any social security mechanism. And even worse than that is the fact that between 18 to 59, there remains a very big gap in terms of social protection. You're not covered by any social security system. And those are the people who are most susceptible to unemployment.
Well, like you say, you know, experts saying the figures suggest not enough people are covered by social grants. And we've put the question out to our viewers this morning and asked, what do you think a solution is? And many say, you know, you keep offering grants, people continue to have children thinking they're going to get those grants. It seems to be a cycle that kind of just makes it worse on the surface of it. Is that what you found?
No, I would have to definitely disagree. For instance, one of the campaigns that I work on at the Studies in Poverty and Inequality Institute is the SADC Basic Income Grant campaign. So we're campaigning for a basic income grant that is unconditional, universal, and not means tested, because of the gap that exists within existing social protection. So in terms of how, I mean, there are the myths that you've just mentioned about how grants, you know, cause people to have babies, they make people lazy. All of that is not true, because, for instance, the child grant is 380 Rand per month. And if you break that down to what it costs per day, it's about 12 Rand 66 cents. And that's below the international poverty line of...
Well, it's not even a loaf of bread.
Exactly. So why would anybody continue to make babies which they cannot sustain, which they can't afford, in order to keep increasing their social grants? And social grants, in fact, have the opposite effect. When people have social grants, they can invest in things like better healthcare, they can invest in education, they can send their children to school. In Namibia, for instance, there was a basic income grant pilot in about 2008, and once the cash transfers started being injected into the community, you know, school attendance rised by 50%, malnutrition dropped, people started having the capacity to start small businesses, which currently doesn't exist if you're unemployed and you don't have any sort of capital to sort of lift yourself out of poverty.
So can we put this solely on the shoulders of government, to say it's a government problem to solve and a government-created problem? Would increasing social grants solve it?
I mean, to say that it's solely on government, it's tricky to put it like that. But I mean, there's a social contract that voters and the governments have. So governments are, you know, entitled to meet the obligation of the progressive realization of socioeconomic rights, and under those socioeconomic rights, social protection is one such right, such as housing, food, etc., etc. So if we're going to put it like that, then yes, government is mandated to ensure that, you know, social protection and social development is on the table, because of the social contract that voters and, you know, heads of state have.
Well, I suppose many people might laugh at what you say, social development being, because, I mean, the grants system, you know, it's in a shambles. We don't even know what's going to happen in the next couple of months. But would covering more people, would giving more people social grants solve the problem? And can we successfully, are we equipped to do that? Can we handle that?
I think, one, yes, it would definitely go a long way in alleviating extreme poverty, firstly. And then secondly, in terms of do we have the capacity, etc., I mean, we have a big problem of illicit financial flows. So we have a problem of governments are not utilizing every available resource in terms of revenue. Beginning of the year, State Security Minister said that they estimate that annually we lose about 80 million rand to illicit financial flows, and that's just what they know of because of the nature of the fact that they are illicit. So the number could be much more. So if governments start plugging the holes, if they start implementing progressive measures such as capital gains, wealth tax, we can have enough money to ensure that social development is as comprehensive as it can be.
Because sometimes it doesn't make sense, does it? Is where we hear about corruption, we hear about looting, and then you hear underspending.
Exactly.
Some municipalities have not spent billions.
Return money, it doesn't make any complete sense. So the maladministration, you know, they're not making sure that all the available revenue is efficiently utilized is one of the problems that contribute to increasing poverty and inequality.
Okay, so let's cross our fingers and hope that somebody takes notice. Thanks very much, Vuyokazi Futshane from Studies in Poverty and Inequality Institute.